Alert! It's a flash sale for 1 week only at Room to Room in 6 p.m. Saturday. Prices slash store-wide, in-store coupons, BOGO accessories, king for a queen mattress deals, and special financing. These deals will be gone in a flash. Room to Room Tupelo.
Mississippi's trusted weather experts. This is Mississippi Live Weather at 10.
Welcome into the Room to Room Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Gabe for Mississippi Live Weather at 10, and we are tracking a pretty calm night, all things considered, especially when you look at the forecast ahead. And that's what we're going to be breaking down in more detail. It's exactly that. What can we expect heading into that extended forecast? Well, first of all, we're all kind of highlighting Saturday's severe weather threat. That's the future that we're really concentrating on. But we're also talking about the limited rain chances also on Friday, timing out both of those, and also what to expect with Saturday's severe threat, that coming up at the 10 o'clock hour as well. But I don't want to overlook what we've had so far this week, and that is high school playoff action. We have highlights here in the Room to Room Weather Center that we'll showcase to you coming up on the 10 o'clock broadcast. We also have our pick'ems. Yes, our Ethan Foster is still undefeated, folks. Pascagoula barely getting away with a win, as well as Neshoba Central barely getting away as well. So when Ethan speaks picks, you gotta listen. And he has picks coming up for our 4A matchups and our 7A matchups, and we heard from him for those 1A matchups happening tomorrow morning as well. Nonetheless, you'll hear from him here shortly. Let's go ahead and get into the first 12. We're 65 by 11, 62 by 2, falling into the low 60s for that morning commute on our Friday, but Friday ending the week on a high note should be a beautiful start to the day. But that severe weather threat does loom in our forecast. As you take a look out there towards Oklahoma, level 3 threat, and that bullseye is very much evidence of why that level 3 threat is there. I mean, you look at some of those severe thunderstorm warnings and tornado warnings falling right in that bullseye. So folks over there at the SPC, give credit where it's due, letting folks know a bit in advance to expect severe weather, and that area highlighting exactly where to expect it. Getting into our Friday, that level 1 threat not far away from us here in North Mississippi, but level 3, that bullseye, Kansas City, Springfield, Missouri, and just east of Oklahoma City, I believe close to the Tulsa area. I want to zoom in here real quick because we are not far away. So we will be getting some thunderstorms, but severe weather, I don't really expect that for our Friday. And really, this level 1 threat, this is basically encompassing your Friday night to moving into Saturday morning. So while it is 26 miles away, once we move into our Saturday, that's when the severe weather threat is here in North Mississippi. And that level 2 threat, basically along and west of I-55, that's where we're watching for a decent number of reports of severe weather. Maybe some large hail, maybe some strong winds, and not even ruling out the possibility of a brief tornado once we get into those Saturday afternoon plans. This is all being driven by this low pressure center up there towards South Dakota. I mean, you can see kind of this disturbance that we're dealing with, and that cold front extending off of it, that's driving our weather pattern, giving these showers over there towards Oklahoma and Kansas, and as we move further east, eventually into North Mississippi. So we'll see right here on Futurecast how that progression takes place, and you can see a large part of those storms remaining over there towards Omaha and Topeka, basically right along this warm front. But once we move into our Friday, that cold front's going to be the driver in this forecast as we do develop a few of those strong thunderstorms to wrap up our Friday. But again, all of that towards our west. Whenever we get further to North Mississippi, that's going to be more on our Saturday. So this front slowly but surely progressing through the central part of the United States and giving elevated chances of some strong storms by Friday afternoon. The next 24. We do have a decent chance to deal with some rumbles of thunder tomorrow afternoon, but this threat not going to be our main action. That's really going to move in on our Saturday. Like I mentioned, Saturday afternoon, kind of the peak time frame we're watching for some of that severe weather to take place. But 80 degrees tomorrow afternoon. If you don't have showers, you're dealing with a beautiful forecast, and that's going to allow for some great plans outside, whether that's at our game of the week in Houston or over in Starkville, at Oxford. I need to look at who won tonight over there in Starkville, actually. So busy with high school basketball. That's really just all that my brain is around right now. But nonetheless, we will have those high school action with some of our games down there in Jackson. Who came out on top? Who's competing on Friday and Saturday? All of that coming up here in the next 60 seconds, as well as timing out that Saturday severe weather threat. So stay here for the very latest.
Look at Wanda, ready to rock her big presentation. But first, lunch. Sweet Pepper's Deli. Delicious, celebratory, but is it quick? The Cobb salad. tender oven roasted chicken topped with cheese. Prepared, plated, and served in 6 minutes? Is this for real? Well, of course. Well done, Wanda. Sweet Pepper's Deli. Yes, ma'am. Life is sweet.
Right now, from the Room to Room Weather Center, here's meteorologist Gabe Maynor.
Here is where our confidence stands for those severe weather parameters moving into our Saturday. Level 1 for that tornado threat. Again, a limited tornado threat. While we're not ruling it out completely, it's just not exactly the setup we're seeing. We'd usually see 4 tornadoes to happen, but again, not ruling out a brief one. But the winds, that's where it kind of catches our attention. Some of those gusty winds moving into the area, allowing for some damage to potentially take place, knocking down some trees, maybe some power lines. That's our concern getting into that Saturday afternoon time frame. Some small hail, not impossible, but that level 3 confidence level for flash flooding. Folks, we could be talking 3+ inches. Actually, let me just go ahead and say we are probably talking about 3+ inches of rainfall for some of us in North Mississippi, and that's going to result in flash flooding as well as potential severe weather. As we look at that level 3 risk areas currently just outside of Oklahoma City and Wichita Falls, we have already had a couple of confirmed tornadoes out there, so an active setup, but that setup gradually works its way to the east. Level 3 threat for Springdale, Springfield, and Kansas City, but that level 2 threat does move into the Little Rock area, and the level 1 threat just outside of Memphis there in northwest Mississippi. So, reason why it's not in our area is because we have to move into Saturday. As you see, it's just this frontal boundary continuing to progress across the central United States and eventually into the southeast. So once that cold front reaches us, severe weather is still possible. Zooming it in specifically on North Mississippi, you can see that level 2 threat encompassing I-55 and for folks out there west into Highway 61 around Shelby, Cleveland, Clarksdale, even towards Grenada and Greenwood. But level 1 threat for the rest of us, that's basically issued based on number of reports. So being that we are a level 1 threat, that means we're expecting less reports in this area of green compared to what they're dealing with out in the yellow, because that's moving up our scale in regards to those number of reports. So that's what we're expecting as we get more into our Saturday, but not impossible at all. We deal with some of those showers in advance. Tonight should be pretty dry, but as that instability moves back into the forecast, that's where we will see a few of those showers and storms by our Friday afternoon. This was a look outside, and this is one of the drier areas, Pontotoc County, not dealing with any of those showers. Diane capturing that perfectly. Weather watcher out in the field, and I appreciate that. And I apologize, this was not zoomed in, but as we bring it back in here, this was in the Verona area, submitted by Candace. You can see some of those sunbeams there speaking through the clouds. So a beautiful sight this afternoon. And I do hope you folks enjoyed what was a pretty good Thursday, all things considered. But I do want to show those Weather Watcher pictures because you guys matter. Whenever severe weather strikes, your reports could make the difference in folks getting that warning or maybe not getting that warning, because you're letting us know what's happening on the ground. So last week on Friday, we were actually, I think it was on Thursday. Oh my word, it's been such a long week. My apologies. Basically, your reports of hail basically let us know if those warnings needed to be continued on, if it was fully at that severe weather parameter. So reports heading into Friday and Saturday, my apologies, Saturday, that's when it matters. So make sure to submit those reports in a safe manner. Don't get out in the danger zone, but let us know what's happening there on the ground. And of course, Candace and Diane doing a great job of that today. Day planner, midnight 64 degrees, 60 there by 6 a.m., but we are still dealing with some of those muggier conditions. Those southerly winds kicking that moisture into our North Mississippi area. And that's what's allowing some of the cloud cover to stick around, the mild temperatures to stick around. But fortunately, not producing any rainfall because there's not really a lifting mechanism as we head overnight. So overnight remaining calm, remaining dry, maybe some partly cloudy conditions heading out the door, but the mild temperatures continue to be the story. We're 61 Amory, Houston, Tupelo, same thing Newport and Starkville, 64 showing up Greenwood, Belzona, and Greenville. And the areas that we expect that severe weather threat to move in first, that's going to be along the Mississippi River. And you can see how there's a little bit more moisture out there, hence why those low temperatures are a little bit warmer. Pickup 61 degrees, drop off around 80 degrees. So warm air is still in the forecast, whether you like it or not. It feels very much like that spring-like air, and you know what happens in spring. That's when severe weather also can strike, and that's why we're dealing with that heading into our Saturday. Friday afternoon, there's that 30% chance of a few scattered showers and storms. Let's go ahead and get into that. So during the morning hours, we are remaining dry, but as the southerly winds move into the forecast and we get some of that daytime heating, That's going to allow some of those showers to initiate. Not exactly going to have a ton of lift to them. That's why we remain below severe limits, but you are getting some brief heavy rainfall. Look at that one out there towards Sardis Lake by noon. As we push further into the afternoon, more of those chances do move into our area. And again, some of those reds popping up once again, especially that one just behind me there towards Tuscaloosa stands out with some of those heavier downpours. That will continue to initiate along the Alabama state line, but if we zoom things out, you can see where the large part of the action is taking place, and that's going to be out here towards Oklahoma and Arkansas, where that level 3 threat is issued. So as we get further into the forecast, then we will expect that severe weather threat to be here by Saturday. We're 81 Oxford, Senatobia, and South Haven, 80 in Tupelo, 80 Macon, Aliceville, and Louisville, and 84 Greenwood and Greenville. So a hot day, all things considered. Should remain below our record, but not too far from it. So just a very warm forecast. And our high school game of the week going to be a good one with those warm conditions. I know that we won't need a jacket to stay warm, but maybe a jacket to stay dry, as that limited potential is there for a few of those showers by the time we get towards that first pitch and final out. But we're going to be in Houston watching Houston take on New Albany. Should be a great game, and excited to get our baseball game of the week started. But then we get into those overnight hours. And as you can see, we have this unstable air mass over the top of North Mississippi. This, paired with that cold front we mentioned a moment ago, is going to allow for some of those showers and storms to take place. Hence why we're getting a few of those prefrontal cells there by 9 p.m., and that's going to pack a punch all in all with those cells, but it's not going to be severe. Again, severe weather threat more for our Saturday. Friday still should be pretty tame. As we get Saturday morning, though, there's where that line is beginning to move in towards Little Rock and the Carlisle, Arkansas area. Now, still at this point, this is a lot of action, and these cells are going to eat at each other's energy. And so there's only so much food to go around, and unfortunately, or fortunately, I should say, it's not going to allow each of these to strengthen to severe limits. Some of these leading cells that we're watching, though, as we get into our Saturday morning, that's where we could see some of those stronger cells initiate, causing some of that severe weather as well. We're 65 Tunica and South Haven. What that tells me Saturday morning with our low temperatures is the fact that the dew points are going to be in the mid to upper 60s as well, because our low temperatures can't drop past that dew point. So these are basically lined up, and that means this is already unstable at 6 a.m. Saturday morning. When this line is starting to move in, or at least starting, not exactly moving in, sweeping through, it's going to be a very slow mover, but that's where that initiation point does happen, early hours of our Saturday. Let's build this in as we go about the day. This is going to be those mid-morning hours, and you can still see some of these showers and storms that are starting to take place, Marshall, Benton, Lafayette County, and that's where we're seeing some of those rumbles, but I don't know if we're fully at that severe weather threshold just yet, just because there's not a lot of daytime heating just yet. But as we move more towards the afternoon, this is what stands out, and this is what the latest run of HRRR is showing. You see these individual cells. Now, there's not a great upper air setup for these cells, but could these still pack a punch? Yes, these are moving right across the North Mississippi area, and we talked about that energy. If we zoom things out right here, you can see there's not a ton of action down south. So you're basically getting these southerly winds that are drawing in that unstable air directly to these individual cells, even these down towards Laurel and Jackson. So that's what I'm paying attention to. You, of course, have the initiation point of that leading edge of the line, but these individual cells also stand out, and it wouldn't be impossible to get some hail out of this. It also wouldn't be impossible to get maybe a brief tornado, especially as you look at some of these darker cells, darker leading edges there towards Chickasaw and Webster County. That's one of the ones that stand out, especially if it gets this S shape right there. I'm curious to see how that continues to trend here in the next 24 hours ahead of this event. But we're just watching that mid-afternoon time frame when you have the daytime heating taking place. You're at that peak threshold. This is where we're going to get the highest potential of severe weather. And that will gradually work its way south and east as we go about the day, but this is not a fast mover. So while severe weather is possible, that's why our confidence level is the highest on flash flooding threats. I mean, if we look at this entire setup, we're looking at near 12 hours of heavy rainfall. That can amount to several inches of rainfall. And if you're in a flood-prone area, I wouldn't be shocked at all if whenever you wake up Sunday morning, we're dealing with some of those flooding threats. But before we get there, I do want to take a note on that storm rotation, because one of the things we're talking about is those potential rotating storms for hail, but even some rotating storms for a brief tornado. And while it's not exactly the setup, it isn't impossible to get some of those rotating cells as we go about the afternoon time frame. So as we look at that legend at the top of the screen, these darker, the darker side of the reds, that's going to be more limited rotation, but whenever the brighter reds show up, that shows that there is some rotating cells within this setup. So as we get more in the afternoon, take a look right here. You see these brighter returns? While this isn't exactly pinpoint location saying, hey, folks in Corinth, watch out, or Holly Springs, watch out, it does show that there is at least a little bit of rotation in the atmosphere to maybe cause a brief spin up. It doesn't take much to produce that, but as long as all of those ingredients interact at the right time, then again, I'm not ruling out the potential for one of those rotating cells. And there's those individual cells, once again, that are initiating ahead of the line. Those are definitely catching my attention, not exactly for those helicity stripes or those rotation stripes, but it still catches my attention because it is eating at the energy the most, and it's in a very isolated area where it could latch onto that energy by itself. So paying attention to that into those mid to late afternoon hours, and then transitioning into the late afternoon as well. And again, there's those stripes that are showing up. That's not impossible to produce a brief tornado, but I would still say that that's more of the limited potential whenever we're looking at those three threats. Wind, still the primary factor, and as you can see with some of those elevated storm tops, not going to be impossible to get some strong gusts along that leading edge, especially because it's got a decent gradient wind to it as well. High temperatures were 75 in New Albany, 79 Houston, 80 still showing up Starkville and Eupora, and we're 74 in Cleveland. So it is still going to be warm despite those rain chances, but that rain-cooled air knocking us back a bit for Saturday afternoon. Scattered chances do linger into Sunday, and might I add, that's going to be primarily in the start of the day. So we're talking about an extended time frame where we're dealing with a lot of rainfall. And that can add up to a lot and cause some flash flooding concerns as a result. And those chances linger all through next week as well. So while there's not many positives from this, whenever we're looking at severe weather potential, and we're also looking at that flash flooding potential, one thing that I will say looking at all these days of rainfall that is a little bit of a positive is the fact that we are still in a drought, a significant drought, and burn bans have been issued. This will help with some of that as long as we remain below severe limits. Again, that's something that we're watching. But unfortunately, all of this rainfall does come at a cost, and we are dealing with that severe weather threat on our Saturday. So like I mentioned, level 2 threat in place for folks along and west of I-55, but for folks out east, it's still a level 1 threat, so that threat is still possible. So please make those preparations. Please make those layers of protection, or get those layers of protection now, because we want you to stay safe as this threat moves in. Now, for folks heading down to Jackson on Saturday, we do have action on Friday, but I'm going to talk to folks on Saturday real quick. Have the Mississippi Live weather app handy. I know you're saying, Gabe, of course you're a biased source. Reason why I'm saying that is because having ways to receive those alerts can be life-saving. And I know folks are going to be traveling all Saturday long. And while the threat is a little bit, actually, let me look down there in Jackson real quick, and we're going to do this together. I want to look specifically, that's, of course, one of the tornadoes that was over in Oklahoma. Matt and I were looking at that a moment ago. But we're going to bring it back in here to the Mississippi area and go down towards Jackson. So level 2 threat does get down there in Jackson, especially for out west. But nonetheless, there's going to be people traveling all Saturday long. We want to stay safe. We want to have those layers of protection. So folks, make sure to get that app, turn those alerts on, go ahead and get weather call, anything you need to stay safe as you head down there to Jackson to cheer on your teams, go ahead and do so. And I wouldn't recommend driving back in it if you're one of those later tip-offs, or even driving back in it during the mid-afternoon where that threat is happening. So I would go ahead and look at options to not have to go back in this setup, so that way you're kind of staying in the clear through all of this. But this is going to be something we iron out in the next 24 hours, but that's just something thinking ahead that I hope that you guys are thinking ahead with as well. Let's go ahead and look at our Friday forecast. And this is where if you have a championship, if you're a 1A, 4A, or 7A team, it's looking pretty good because you're not having to dodge those showers all day long. So as we look at that forecast, we're 81 by noon, mid-80s by the afternoon. Jackson getting even warmer than what we're dealing with up here. But things are heating up not only in the sky, but also on the hardwood. And that is actually where we have gotten highlights. Now, of course, this was from yesterday's action, but lining up our state championship matchups getting into tomorrow, but really into Saturday. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of those highlights down in Jackson that we were able to corral here at Mississippi Live Weather. 3A action continues, this time with Our Lady Academy facing off against the Belmont Cardinals. Going to be a heated matchup today. Tip is away to start out the game. Let's see who wins this one. Early in the first, Belmont up 1. Brooke Smith would take the ball to the left, kick it out. 3 ball from Carson Sullivan on the left wing, and rattles it home to take the early 4-point lead. Next possession, they'd find the open Cardinal in the corner. 3 ball from McKinley Bennett. Bottoms once again taking an early command of the first quarter, and the three-point barrage continues this time on the right wing from Sullivan, and she is money once again. Belmont finding the range early to go up 20-10 after one. Our Lady Academy would respond. Leah Laporte left open in the corner. She pulls it, and it's good from three, brings it back to single digits. Later in the second, Our Lady Academy misses the three, but a teammate would find it and get the layup to go with ease there on the left side. It would be a 4-point game later in the second, but Belmont would handle it. Brooke Smith getting the baseline lay to go and the foul. Big time response there from the Cardinals. 28-21 Cardinals after the first half. Now, check out the range from McKinley Bennett. They're going to go back and forth here, but she pulls it from 5 feet beyond the NBA three-point line, folks. That's a deep three. That's all the way from Belmont, and it's a bucket. Our Lady Academy looking to respond. Laporte gets the left wing to three to go, but Belmont had the answer. That answer's name is McKinley Bennett. Another long-range bomb to fall. Bennett feeling it, and that's an understatement this early. 47-41, Belmont looking to slide into that championship game. Our Lady Academy needing points fast. They'd feed the hot hand Laporte, who gets another top-of-the-key three to go. Cardinals feeling the pressure. They would end up turning the ball over, and Our Lady Academy would get the two to go. 4-point game right here after the layup. OLA keeping the momentum, driving in the lane. No one stopping her. They get the easy right-hand layup to go to bring it to a 2-point game. Bennett would go 1 for 2 at the line. OLA heaving it deep down court. Unfortunately, couldn't corral the ball, and it goes out of bounds, and Belmont runs away with this one, 57-54 to advance to the state championship to face the Boonville Blue Devils. Congratulations to the Cardinals, and great season there from Our Lady Academy. 2A boys playoff action in Jackson with the winner advancing to the championship game on Saturday. Pelahatchie Chiefs facing off against the Baldwin Bearcats. Folks all ready? Tip is away, and here we go. First quarter, Pelahatchie ball, Zion Grant dribbles it up, no one steps up, he pulls up, and bang! 3 points on the board. A scramble for the ball right here, gives it to the Chiefs somehow. They drive and kick it to the corner, another three, and this is all net. Caden Davis with the bucket. The onslaught continues. Bearcats turning the ball over, Mr. 2A basketball gets the steal, and Zion Grant gets the hoop and the harm. Chiefs rolling early. Grant looking to share the love on the following possession. He'd give it to the senior Tyson Beeman in the corner for three, and it's good as well. First half, fans are loving it. Pelahatchie already up 21-13. Bearcats would respond. Jalen Ewing looking like Patrick Ewing on the post and getting the two to go. But Baldwin would still find themselves down 26-19 after the first half. Second half starts. Bearcats feed it inside to Ewing again, and he gets the layup to go. Bearcats finding a groove. They'd go to Colton Hayes for a nifty move right here to get the bucket. And of course, that is a big time play to bring it within 4. Chiefs looking for a break opportunity, but it gets blocked by Hayes. Showing up on both ends. Bearcats push. Spin move right here from the offense to go to the top of the key. Looks right to the corner. Wide open man. Pump fake, three, bang. What a run to bring it to 1. 31-30 in the middle of the third. You can see how hyped they are out there. Exciting times for Baldwin. Full court pressure by Pelahatchie, handled by Carter Craven. Bringing the ball up, he sees his man on the left wing wide open. 3 points for Brandon Johnson and the lead for Baldwin. It won't last too long, though, because Pelahatchie takes advantage of the celebration, advances the ball all the way up the court, finds the man on the baseline, and gets the easy 2 to go. Back and forth we go. Bearcats inbounding the ball right here. They'd give it to the corner, take it up to the right wing or left wing, feed it back to the corner, and that's where they'd find their main man inside. Yes, that is Ewing once again. Baldwin leads after 3, 37-36 in a back and forth game. But don't worry, Pelahatchie will keep its cool. Offensive rebound, kick out to the corner. Wide open 3 is good to take the lead back. Chiefs would grow the lead to 5 and get the steal from the Bearcats right here off of some errant dribbling. They would throw a long pass up court to the open man who finishes the layup. Pelahatchie taking control of this one. Baldwin would not go away though. Right here, they're going to be getting the baseline out of bounds. Feed it to Craven. He pump fakes, takes the 3, and gets it to go to bring it within 2. Next play, baseline out of bounds. They find Kylan Billups, who hits the 3 again. Same spot, same result. 1 point game, 15 seconds to go. Baldwin would have a chance down 2, but it would be turned over by Craven with 10 seconds left. He would get the intentional foul right here, and the Pelahatchie Chiefs would get 4 free throws. They'd only make 1, so there is a chance, but unfortunately, they would lose the ball, and Chiefs take this one, 56-53, to win a thriller in the Big House over the Baldwin Bearcats. 3A semifinal action in Jackson continues with the Pisgah Dragons facing the Boonville Blue Devils. Winner heading to the championship on Saturday. Here we go. Chaos early. Well, Dragons missing this one, but chaos early. Dragons come up with the loose ball. They'd feed it to the corner to Madison Washington, who gets the 3 to go. Pisgah striking first, but Boonville looking to respond. Beautiful ball movement from the Lady Devils all the way to Kellen Johnson for 3, and it is all butter. Knotted up at 5. Next possession, swinging the ball again, ends up in Johnson's hands. Same spot, same result. Bottoms from 3. But we're not done yet. Blue Devils miss a shot and come up with the offensive rebound. They'd kick it out to who else but Johnson, and she sinks another. That's 3 from 3. Oh, you thought that was it? Well, baseline out of bounds. They'd find Johnson once again wide open left wing. It's like clockwork. Johnson went 4 for 5 from 3 in the first quarter. Boonville up 22-8. The momentum continues in the second. Adler Doran gets the ball in the corner, drives baseline, gorgeous spin, and the lefty lay is good. Doran went on her own run, coming up the steal from the Dragons, throws it ahead to her teammate. She would end up missing the layup, but Doran fights for the rebound right here. She's in 8th grade, everybody, and has that fight. They'd get a wide open 3 in the corner from Bella Nunley. Another 3 good to go. The score would be 34-15 at the half. And remember Adler Doran, well, she's only in 8th grade, and she is making her mark at the highest stage. Left corner 3 is good, and Boonville keeping the hot hand in the second half. Pisgah not going away easy. They'd reverse the ball right here all the way to the top of the key and sink the easy 3-pointer to cut the lead to 16. Score would still be 46-34 after 3, very much in the Boonville Blue Devils' hands, but Lady Dragons will still be fighting. They'd swing it to the left right here and do a perfect ball reversal to the other side and get the wide open corner 3 to go. Single-digit game. Pisgah would get the stop at the other end, throw it ahead to her teammate. She would end up corralling the ball and fight through the contact to get the hoop and the harm and bring it to a 6-digit game. It would be a 6-point game halfway through the fourth. Dragons feeling new life. They drive and kick. They would drive and kick again, but this time deciding to pull up for the wing 3, and they would get it to go. 3-point game, 1-possession game. The Dragons would end up falling short in this one. Layup is good to go, but Boonville would fight off the comeback and win this one 64-55 to advance to the 3A state championship game. Congratulations to the Blue Devils and great season there from Pisgah. I know they are excited to advance, and we will see what they can do on Saturday. 3A action for the boys now as the St. Stanislaus Rockachas take on the Boonville Blue Devils. Blue Devils trying to make it back to the title game this year. Well, here's the tip, and the Rockachas, yeah, they strike first and strike fast. 3 seconds into the game, and they get their first bucket. Boonville trying to get their own bucket. They end up missing the floater on the left side. Elijah Dukes cleans it up for the first bucket. Stanislaus actually inbounds the ball right here, but the Blue Devils are ready. Stolen away by Dalton Jackson. Easy steal, an easy lay to get it going and get the early 2-point lead. The Rockachas would keep the offense rolling, this time feeding it inside to Max Baria, and he would get the and one to somehow roll in. Shooter's touch on that one. St. Stanislaus controlling this one after one, 14-10. Boonville wouldn't go away. Hampton gets the feed and kicks it to Isaiah Jackson, and that's bottoms from 3. The Rockachas immediately respond, however. They swing the ball to the corner, bring it up to the right wing, and they see their wide open man, Raphael Cohen, who gets his own 3 to go. Stanislaus gets the ball on the baseline. They end up missing the midi pull-up, but Max Baria is there to clean up the mess, jamming it home. Defending champs down 24-19 after the first half. But the champs are not going away easy. They'd feed it to Cameron Hampton, who sinks the 2, plus the foul, hoop, and the harm, needing those buckets right there. Hampton not done yet, gets the lefty lay to go. Easy one right there. Honestly, could have been a foul as well, but that brings it within 2. Rockachas would still lead 35-30 after 3. Now, St. Stanislaus gets the steal here, and Alan Gilliam would get the Euro step and 1 to fall to expand that lead. The Rockachaws having a response for everything, and their defense would keep rocking and chawing all the way to the finish line. Alan Gilliam getting another layup to fall. Boonville would be unable to come back from the deficit, and they would end up falling to the Rockachaws 49-41. The Boonville Blue Devils season coming up just short, but still a fantastic year and a lot to be proud of for the Blue Devils. And that was just some of the games from yesterday evening. We had plenty of playoff action for our local teams today. We're going to work to get those highlights to you as soon as possible, getting into some of our broadcasts tomorrow. But nonetheless, it was exciting. Congratulations to all of the teams that have advanced so far. And we do have a few folks crowned. That is Pascagoula and Neshoba Central, the 6A champs for Mississippi, and it was a great time tonight as those champions continue to be crowned. Now heading into tomorrow, again, 1A, 4A, 7A. We talked 1A at 6, but our Ethan Foster actually joins us for the latest on that 4A matchup, and it's one of his favorite teams. Let him tell you a little bit about what to expect.
Some highly anticipated matchups in the 4A division for girls and boys competing for that state title happening Friday. Let's go ahead and look at our girls matchup for the 4A state title. We've got one of my favorite teams to talk about this season, Tisch County, matching up with another big hitter down from the South region, Big Louisville. Let's talk about Tisch County. They are first in 4A Region 1 at the end of the regular season. They've been averaging 63 points a game in the playoffs. Two of their standout players who we've called Thunder and Lightning for a little while now. That's Meg Moore, who's been averaging 22.9 points a game this season. That's insane. And also Kaisley Timms, she's who they call Lightning. She's been averaging 18.2 points a game per season. When you add those together, you're averaging over 40 points, 41 points to be exact, between two players. That's pretty good. Let's talk about Big Louisville for just a second. They finished the regular season first in 4A Region 4. They've been averaging 60 points a game in the playoffs. Another high-scoring offense right there. Some players to watch for Big Louisville. Michaela Sam, a junior, averaging 18 points a game, and senior Sonia Leach averaging 13.8 points a game. You might be able to think, who's he going to pick? I got to roll with Thunder and Lightning. I believe Tisch County is going to win this game. They've had an impressive season. I'm still rolling with the Braves. We'll see how they do. But not the only matchup in 4A. We've also got the boys to talk about. So let's tee them up. For the 4A Boys State Championship, we've got Leake Central and Morton. So in this game, let's look at Leake Central first. They finished the regular season first in 4A Region 5, averaging 66 points a game in the playoffs. And one thing to note is their defense has been allowing about 52 points a game in the playoffs. So allowing a lot of points to be scored, but still averaging more points on the offensive side of the glass. And on the other side, you've got Morton, who finished the regular season second in 4A Region 6. They've been averaging about 51 points a game in the playoffs, and their defense has been allowing 44 points a game. So better defense, but not as strong of an offense. My pick in this game, I'm going to have to go with the Gators from Leake Central, one of the top 10 teams in the state. I believe they take the state title for 4A. And the boys, of course, it's an exciting weekend of basketball for the boys and the girls. We've got all the picks for you this weekend. Stay tuned in to Mississippi Live Sports. We'll see you again real soon.
And that's an undefeated man, might I add. He is 10-0 on his picks on the year after tonight's matchups. And that was in two, I believe they were a one-possession game, both of those games tonight, and he still somehow picked the winner. So trust Ethan Foster. I know I do. So as we get into action tomorrow, we have 1A and 4A, but 7A, don't want to rule them out either. We have a local team, one local team representing both categories. Ethan Foster, he joins us once again talking about those 7A matchups.
The nightcap on Friday, two huge matchups in 7A for the girls and boys state title games. Let's take a look at the girls to start things off. Of course, we've got a matchup between the Starkville Yellow Jackets, one of the top teams in the state, number one depending on who you ask, matching up with the Harrison Central Red Rebels, another top 10 team right there, battling it out for the state title in 7A. Starkville finished the regular season first in 7A Region 2. They've been averaging about 53 points a game in the playoffs. Players to watch for the Yellow Jackets include Jada Gay. She's been averaging 14.4 points a game in the playoffs. And for the Red Rebels, they actually finished third in their region, 7A Region 4 to be specific, climbing back from that deficit to make it to the state title game. Very impressive. They've been averaging 50 points per game in the playoffs. A couple of players to watch for the Red Rebels. You've got Sanaya Murray averaging 16.7 points a game, and sophomore Parkland Floyd averaging 15.2 points per game. Of course, those two players combining for over 30 a game. My pick in this game, I'm going to roll with the Starkville Yellow Jackets. Again, one of the best teams in the state all season. Only lost 3 games all season, held their opponents to 67 total points across the first 3 rounds of the playoffs. I believe Starkville takes it in the girls. And if we look over at the boys matchup, we've still got the Yellow Jackets represented, the boys from Starkville, and they're matching up with the Germantown Mavericks, a team they've seen frequently this season. This is a region battle, 7A Region 2 to be specific. Starkville finishing the regular season first in the region, Germantown finishing second right behind them. Starkville averaging 52 points a game in the playoffs up to this point, and they actually took 2 out of those 3 matchups this regular season with Germantown. If we look at the Mavericks, they finished second in the region, averaging 56 points a game in the playoffs. They actually got 1 out of those 3 matchups with Starkville. They defeated Starkville 48-46 back on February 6th. They're hoping they can get a win over Starkville in this title game coming up Friday at 8 o'clock. But my pick for this game, I've got to roll with the Yellow Jackets. Again, picking the Yellow Jackets to sweep 7A. Pretty crazy if you think about it. Germantown hasn't been able to score more than 48 points against the Yellow Jackets in the regular season. Starkville, one of the best teams in the state for the girls and the boys too. But it could be a close game if history serves again. With that being said, a lot more to cover this weekend. Lots of basketball to watch. Until next time, for Mississippi Live Sports, I'm Ethan Foster. We'll see you then.
Well, thank you, Ethan, and I hope you got your dose of sports because we had it all here for Mississippi Live Weather at 10. Bringing it back into weather for one moment to let you guys know what to expect. Moving into our Saturday, level 1 threat for tornadoes, level 2 threat for wind, level 1 threat for hail, and then level 3 for that flash flood. Again, these are confidence levels here for Mississippi Live Weather, but again, we'll let you know that accurate information first, and we will continue to do that even heading into Saturday. That gusty wind, those gusty winds as well as flash flood definitely stand out, but we're not ruling out a brief tornado or maybe some hailstones mixing in there as well. So, as we head into tonight, make sure to download that Mississippi Live Weather app. Going to put it up here, but it has a little bit more importance tonight because it's preparing you for Saturday. Again, layers of protection. We have Weather Call. We have the Mississippi Live Weather app. This is one of those layers that you can download right now. Get that free app today, and you will stay safe when these storms do strike because it lets you know those alerts. But it also has our live broadcast on there with our meteorologist Maggie McCauley at 6:37 and 7:30, and Chief Meteorologist Matt Lopon and I at 5, 6, and 10. We're keeping eyes on this, the whole team, heading into Friday and Saturday as this threat looms near. So make sure to keep it here live from the Room to Room Weather Center for the very latest on what to expect. Like I said, accurate information the fastest. That's what we pride ourselves here at Mississippi Live Weather with, and we promise to do that moving forward as well. You guys have a fantastic night. Stay safe, stay prepared, and we'll see you bright and early with our meteorologist Maggie McCauley at 6:30.
By the time you see the symptoms of lung cancer, it could be too late. Now there's a new scan that can detect lung cancer early. If you smoked, get scanned.
Even though Gabe grew up in Alabama, Mississippi has now become his home and his family. And one thing about Gabe is he keeps his family safe.